Hello, everybody, and welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again to the next episode in the series. If you've missed any of this, please go ahead and get caught up on this season where we've been making a little bit of a travel application, if you will. And it's going to be centered around a beautiful place in the world, the country of Croatia. So, in the last episode, we specifically made the view holder here for what we're going to be showing on screen at the home fragment here. And so I'm just gonna close some of these, clean some things up. All right, and then I'm gonna go ahead and just commit what we've done. So let's just say we basically, well, we added the attraction model based off the raw JSON file of data. And then we added the view holder for use in the UI. Okay, so we go ahead and commit that, and then we have our RecyclerView set up here, but we don't have an adapter. And so we're just gonna name this one home. We're actually gonna move the home fragment into there and click refactor. And then we're going to create the home fragment adapter, which is going to, I'm going to go ahead and Control I to bring up the minimum functions that we need. And internally, we're going to create a view holder. So we're just going to call this the inner class, what's it called? Attraction view holder. It's gonna, it's going to take the parent view group and it's going to be the RecyclerView ViewHolder implementation. Say layout inflator dot in from parent, dot inflate r dot layout view holder excuse me, sorry, we need the context. And then we're going to create our onBind function, which is going to take an attraction, and we will go ahead and set up our UI there. But if you remember from the tutorial, I guess, that we've gone over with the other recycler views, we had to, define all of our elements of our UI somewhere, and then use those elements in our onBind function. But because we've introduced view binding, we can actually private val binding is going to equal our, what is it called? View holder attraction binding dot bind item view. So there's a few different methods you can use to actually create this view binding class. There's either the inflate function that we use here in the fragment level, but you can also just use the bind function to a particular view, and that's going to go ahead and try to match up everything that exists in this view and create type-safe variables for you to use. So if we want to set the title, we can just say title text view, binding title text view equals attraction dot title. And then we want to load the image, so we're actually going to say to do load image via Picasso, which we will do momentarily. And then I actually forgot to give this bad boy a name. And this is going to be like months to visit text view. And so then if we go back in here, we can say binding months to visit text view equals, or dot text equals our months to visit. And then we need Picasso. Pablo, where are you at? So we've done this before in a previous episode or season, sorry. So we're just going to grab the dependency that we need. What on earth was the latest version? Might be on the GitHub. It was 2.8. Oh, 2.7. Oh wait, let's see what we got here. All right, cool. Let's just use 2.8. Oh. Well, that doesn't make much sense, but we're gonna go ahead and just sync that. That's kind of weird that it's telling me a new version is available, yet 2.7 is less than 2.8, right? We can all agree on that. And then 2.8 and 2.7 on March 7, 2018. Migrates 2.0 expansion. Yeah, release on August 10th this year. All right, not entirely sure what's up with that, but sounds good. We got it. And then we remember our beautiful way to load our images in here. So let's just go ahead and copy that. We're going to pop it in here and say Picasso into binding header image view. And instead of whatever that thing is, we're going to look for the attraction image URL. Beautiful, right? So now we're starting to bind everything together. And then actually what we're going to need is to set an on-click listener here. Also, there's a special thing in all of the Viewbinding classes called root, and that will actually reference the root element here of the entire layout file. So sometimes it's useful, and honestly, a lot of times I would end up, back in the day doing like root because I needed to reference the root somehow, but you don't need to give that an ID. If you wanted to give it an ID like root2 or something like that, or parent or whatever, you would see that in your binding class, but you don't need to. You can just call binding.root, and that references the root of the file, and that's also why the view that we return here from the onCreate view is set to the binding.root, because you can't just return like the view binding itself because you'll get just a mismatch here for the type. So by calling root, you can see here it actually even knows that it's a constraint layout because it's defined as a constraint layout here. So anyway, something to let you know of. And then let's call this the onClicked, which is going to be a function that returns nothing. So we're just going to do onClicked. And then trying to wonder what the best way to feed the information to the adapter is. Just because I don't want to run into any race conditions, I'm gonna assume I'm just actually going to create a setter function. So set data, it's going to be the data that we're telling this is going to be a list of attractions. And say this dot attractions. Yeah, I know this looks crazy, but we are going to fix that in a second. Array list, boom. Okay. And then we're also going to call notify dataset changed when we set the data. So anything that we used to have in this adapter, we're going to clear. We're going to add all of these new attractions to it. Then we're going to say the data has changed, and then everything's going to rerun again. So real quickly here, we're going to return the attraction view holder with our parent, our onBind. Again, we can just do this in a brute forced way because we know that it's going to be an attraction view holder. We're not supporting different view types at the moment. Sorry, I'm fumbling that. Attractions at position. Again, we don't need to do any math because it's just going to line up one-to-one. We're going to put in the constructor the onClicked callback, which is going to be a function that returns nothing. And as soon as I can get this syntax right, very good. And then get item count, we're going to return attractions.size. Okay, very good. We have an adapter class up and running that we can actually use here. So we have our RecyclerView, which we're just going to call recycler. Well, actually, the other thing is we don't need to, define variables for it. So what we could say is adapter, Fragment adapter. Then we can actually just do this. And by doing this interesting looking syntax, because this constructor takes a function that returns nothing and accepts nothing, it's kind of just like a simple callback. You can actually just inline that as a lambda. So this is going to be to do handle item being clicked, right? So we're actually going to navigate the user. Then we need to actually, well, we can set it here. So if we say binding.recyclerView.adapter equals adapter, let's just call this home adapter so that it doesn't, so that nothing gets mixed up there. And then the problem is that we need to be able to call set data on a list of attractions here, right? So for now we can just do the empty list or whatever, but we need to get the attractions at this moment in time so that we can actually present something on screen. And so we have this class lined out pretty nicely, and that matches up one-to-one to our JSON file. So now here comes a little bit of parsing and basically converting this entire file into a list of these bad boys here. So actually we are going to use one of the more popular, I think it might even be called out in here. Let's see. No. But it's again a library that comes from Square actually. They have a handful of very useful libraries, so I would most definitely look into or at least pay attention to them. And I can attest to the fact that they're used in some of the most professional applications on the planet. So they definitely have built some extremely useful tools. But the one that we're looking for is called Moshi or Moshi. I don't know what it's called. I think Moshi. So I'm going to trim the video here, and we're going to pick this up in the next one. But we're basically going to learn how to actually convert a particular file or data into objects in our code. So I will catch you in the next one. Stay tuned. This is when everything is going to slowly start to come together. So I'm excited. Hope you are too. I'll catch you in the next one.